Good morning, good people. Today is Tuesday, October 15th. The month is half over. October 15th, 2024. Here we are in southwestern Nevada, Nye County, George Norrie, Art Bell Country, Pahrump or Pahrumpertucky, you choose. But here we are for our morning little get her going type of thing. Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life, which is the most important thing everyone should be focused on. Don't focus on the here and now, focus on destination. Keep your eye on the destination. I'm not going to, the journey will take care of itself. But recognize the journey is the journey. It's the route to the destination. It is not the destination. The destination is what comes after this life, what is next. We want to get through this iteration in the best possible, prepared in the best possible way. How about that? How about that as a formation of a sentence? Okay, so let's see. Big things for today. Why am I looking like this? Because I just got off the peloton. Because I have to leave at 6:30. Because I got to pick someone up at 7. Because I got to be at breakfast with Valerio Zanoli, movie producer extraordinaire, great thinker, friend of the homeless. Get to be with Valerio Zanoli and David for breakfast in Las Vegas, then my meeting with Dr. Linden, and then another meeting with someone very special, most special person, and then back to Dr. Linden's office, then back here for another meeting at 4:45, then my 3 hours of studying of Karl Rahner. So it's a big, heavy lift today. Heavy lift today. But I am up for it. Why? Because I train for this, right? Because this is what it's all about. Okay, what's on our hit parade today? The hit parade today from Darren Hardy, Performance is Contagious. Great stories from Netflix about that. We've got a couple other red letter things. Let's see. We've got a red letter Daily Stoic about time. Nope. Daily Stoic is where do you go? Have a destination in mind. Have a plan. If you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there. Seth's blog is not red letter, so I'm not going to talk about that. Darren Hardy is the Purging Mediocrity, the $1 billion Netflix lesson. Right you are. We'll get into that. Jordan Peterson has a good one today on unity. Right. A lot of good stuff here today. Lots of good stuff. Where are we at? Where are we at, Johnny? Okay, let's talk about advice from an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. Never deprive someone of hope. It might be all that they have. Right. Never deprive anyone of hope. In fact, you want to inspire them with hope. You want to always nurture that. Why? Because the destination, life could suck to the utmost. You know, people talk about the problem of suffering. Why is there suffering in the world? And I would say, depending upon how you frame it, it's not really suffering. It's not really suffering. You know, again, in terms of time, Seth Godin, if you look at things in terms of time, what's it called? It's not easy to see time. And he has animation of increases in world temperature from 1900 till now. And it's increased, but when they have each year on top of one another, it has more significance than a single shot. You can see how the temperature has changed. Suffering, I think it's overdone. Because if you add the element of time, 100 years of pure torment is nothing compared to eternity. And again, the example we use, 13.8 billion years reduced down to 1,000,000 years per step. So every one step, approximately 3 yards, every one step is 1,000,000 years. 13.8 billion years equals a 7.84 mile walk. So that's a 2-mile walk, 2-hour walk on flat land. About 2-hour walk on flat land is about 13.8 billion years. Now, 13.8 billion years is nothing compared to eternity, but 13.8 billion years at 1 yard equals 1,000,000 years is 7.84 miles. A life of 100 years, so you take that 3 feet, that's 1,000,000 years. 100 years is 1/10,000th of that, or about the width of a human hair. So a 100-year life compared to 13.8 billion years is the width of a hair compared to 7.84 miles. Any amount of suffering over here is nothing compared to that. It's nothing compared to that. But if you look at 100 years of suffering compared to a life of 100 years, it is quite dramatic. Thought I had a throat lung. I do. Okay, so always be focused on the destination. Performance is contagious. Performance is contagious. So Netflix, history of Netflix around the year 2000. Says I'm offline. Good morning, Maticus von Atticus. How are you? We need the videos. We need the videos. I will send you a text of where to email them to the station, to memory. Okay, so Netflix, around the year 2000, when the internet bubble burst, Netflix was far from profitable, constantly needed more money. Oh, good. Constantly needed more money. The money dried up. So they then had to go into austerity mode. They had, I think, about 120 employees, needed to get rid of 40. And big traumatic thing, getting rid of a third of the workforce, typically not good for morale. So they spent time separating the 80 top performers from the 40 less than top performers down to mediocre. So nobody was below mediocre, but there were about 40 people. The 40 people from mediocre up, because 80 was the number. And it was a sad day. And the expectation was not good. People would view the ship as sinking, sort of like Chuck E. Cheese. When Nolan, it was sort of suggested that he leave because he didn't understand the problems. Well, instead of the rats deserting the ship sinking, morale increased. So about 2 weeks later, they were performing better with a third less employees than they had been before. Morale was higher. Everything was better. And then that instilled some things. And Reid, I think his name is, no, not Reid Hoffman. The CEO of Netflix wrote a book, and the rest is history. But there's a couple things that we get out of it. Number one, take a good look in the mirror. Asking yourself, if my customers, my employees, my stakeholders were viewing me, would I be in the 80%? Would I be in the top performer category or the mediocre category? Where would I be? Do I show up enthusiastic, solving problems? Or am I a high maintenance person? Do I draw attention to myself because I create problems? Do I make my boss's life easier or not? So take a good look at yourself in the mirror. It's just you and your reflection, so you can be honest. You can be honest with yourself. Look at your relationships. Cut 30% of your projects, obligations, or tasks. Okay, so first me, now all of the things I'm associated with and doing, and then get rid of 30% of them. 30% of your projects, obligations, or tasks, not and. So think about getting rid of the bottom 30% of your projects, the things you're obligated to do, or the stuff you do. And what he's saying is you will find that what? Your productivity goes up. Have less, do more. It's going to be kind of our new mantra. Have less. I'm going to put that on here. Have less, do more. Sort of a Buddhist thing. I'm going to say it's a Buddhist thing, but I don't know that it's a Buddhist thing. Okay, Maticus von Atticus, how are things in Fort Prescott with the mission? And you sent me the video via email. I will check for it again because that's an important thing. It's 6:11. Let's look at our worksheet one more time. Netflix, big performance is contagious. So also another thing that was noticed, if you have 5 people in a group, the person with the lowest common denominator, the slowest swimmer, as they say, is the pace the pack moves. We're only as good as our slowest swimmer. We're only as good as our slowest runner. Is true. So what do? Get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. Shed. My life right now is actually less chaotic than it was 2 weeks ago, where I had a couple high maintenance people. I generally, much of the time, would have to go back behind. And yes, things are not getting done, but we move forward. Okay, what else? Advice from an 80-year-old. We talked about that. Hope. Daily Stoic. Time. No, Daily Stoic. Where do you go? Have a destination in mind. Where are you heading? We're heading towards the next place. The evidence is pretty compelling that we have a transcendent soul, that something continues after death. Why? Because now we have the technology that we're getting pretty good at reviving people, and too many people are coming back with descriptions of something that happened when they had no neural activity. When nothing was going on in their brain, they actually report that they participated in something though nothing was happening in their brain. So where did this come from? Well, the idea is it came from a transcendent soul. If we have a transcendent soul and we have all of these different ideas on how to make the best use of that, Christianity is a great contender for those in the West, Western world, Christianity. Jesus, Messiah, Jesus, forget Messiah, Creator incarnate. That's what he said. And he said, here's what you need to do if you want to get to be where you really want to be, everlasting life. If you want to have everlasting life once you die, here's all you need to do. Cool. Okay. So we are 15 minutes in. It is 6:14. Yep. I texted it. Okay. Let's see if I got the text. At Jacobs. $4:30. I have one for 4:30. I'll look at it and pass it on. Okay, Matt, good. Thank you. Signing off because I got to get ready to go to Lost Wages. Okay, everybody, thank you. Wadabebi is at work. No, she's in school. Bonk.